Welcome to Under the Hood, your fortnightly insight and recap into accounting's leading topics and practical insights. Brought to you by Accountants Daily.
Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of Under the Hood, brought to you by Accountants Daily. It is Tuesday, which means it is another podcast day, and I hope everyone is having a good start to the week and wishing you all a productive week ahead. As always, my name is Imogen Wilson, and today on the pod, I am joined in studio by an absolute powerhouse and boss woman within this fantastic industry, jumping on to talk today about sustainability, tech, being a female CFO, business founder, CEO, and now thought leader of the year is the one and only, the lovely Sarah Lawrance. Sarah, welcome to Under the Hood and welcome to the studio. How are you?
I'm really well. Thank you so much for having me. Wow. Makes me sound great. Flattery will get you everywhere.
I'm so excited to have Sarah in here today, and she's just a bundle of energy, and we've just been having such a good chat beforehand. We didn't really want to press record, did we? We were just having a good little chat.
No one needs to hear that.
But it has been a crazy couple of weeks for you, you were just saying. Tell everyone about what's been going on in your life.
So like everybody, big run to the final end of financial year. And then it's like, oh my God, all of a sudden it was like we rested and then we looked at the new financial year, and then I personally decided to do High Rocks this year. First time I was totally marketed on and like was so into the hype, and I joined up and it was so great, and I did it with a partner. My partner was like, we're just going to cruise. It's going to be so easy. It's going to be it's just a chill couple of hours. The whistle went off. She was there to play. So I obviously had to keep up. Why I'm telling you people this story is because a couple of days after High Rocks, I went to soccer straight after High Rocks, and then a couple of days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She's in her fitness grind.
I am trying. Not too well, though, because a couple of days later, at 3 a.m. in the morning, I had stabbing pain in my right foot and could not put any pressure on my foot. And I've been in a moon boot for 2 weeks. So it's taken a beat to get into the studio to talk to you. So I do apologise for all the delays. But it's been a interesting couple of weeks.
It sounds like it. And so we now have Sarah in the studio. She's moon boot free. It's been a crazy ride. But a couple of weeks ago, or probably a month or so ago now, Accountants Daily hosted the Australian Accounting Awards, and we saw Sarah take out not one but 2 awards. So there was Thought Leader of the Year and also the Accountants Daily Excellence Award. Was that just a beautiful moment for you, Sarah? Because me watching it, I had tears in my eyes watching you get those 2 awards. It was just fantastic.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Honestly, I actually just couldn't believe my name went up. Like I had almost convinced myself there was just no way that I was going to win that award. Like I think I said that at the start of my speech. I was like, there's just no way. So I was very overwhelmed. I remember coming off after Thought Leader, and Michelle Cavello came up to me. I love Michelle. And she came straight up to me and she congratulated me. And I just remember I couldn't even talk to her. I was just so overwhelmed. I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I've won it. And then I was outside and this girl called Imogen came running up to me
Who is that?
whilst I was getting photos with my friends and said, get back in here now. And then I was just totally blown away. It was a very surreal moment and very, very proud, and just could not believe it, to be honest.
Getting Thought Leader of the Year obviously seemed like such a huge deal for you, because you got up on stage and you're like, wow, I just can't believe it. But from my perspective, watching you do what you do, I could believe it because you're so fantastic and you're doing all these amazing things. So why was it such a shock to you?
I think, so I've been attending these awards for a really long time, and I know most of the people that have won that award. I'm very close to them, and I just respect the absolute hell out of them. So like I know Heather Smith won it last year, Robin Jackinson, like Rebecca Mahalik. Like I know all of those women, and I just know how amazing they are. So they've really, they're total trailblazers, and they've really like set the standard for this industry, in particular for the women in this industry. So I've always looked at that award. So it was just, for me to then be awarded that award, I was just really blown away because I just know the women that have come before me and standing on the shoulders of giants basically with those women. So that's why I was just blown away, really.
Absolutely. So, with that thought leader now under your belt, what's on for the rest of the year, or what's coming for you now? What direction are you taking?
So I hope I'm just getting started. I feel like it's like, okay, so I've won this and now it's like, what is my focus? For me, I have a discipline and focus issue, which I'm very vocal about. So this year my mantra is discipline and focus, but really in the AI space and the sustainability space. So I'm really lucky that I feel like the team at Hot Toast is one of the best it's ever been, and we've got the right people in the right roles that are really focused on kind of building impact and building out parts of the business. So so that's my focus. How do I grow the sustainability part of the business, but how do I look at AI and basically incorporate it not just into our own business operations, but, spin it out as a service offering as well, and what does that look like? So that's at a business level. And then I think you probably know I spend a lot of time with CPA and on other industry bodies and committees and stuff like that. And just telling everybody, my focus is also like, how can we talk about AI in particular as much as possible and give that as much recognition and a voice so that like other people can go, how can I start to upskill and get prepared for what's probably coming in the next 5 to 7 years?
She's a busy woman, this one.
I try.
She's got lots on her plate. But, of course, we said we're going to talk about sustainability and AI today, which are two massive topics and something that we all need to wrap our head around, something that I need to wrap my head around, even not being an accountant myself. But let's take it back to the beginning. Tell us about Hot Toast, which, by the way, fantastic business name. Tell us the inspiration behind that, how you built it from the ground, and what you guys are doing at the moment.
So Hot Toast, God, it's been nearly 10 years. So 10 years in January is like, I just can't believe that it's been a decade nearly. So I originally I started in auditing, and I did not love auditing at all. And from there I think I was 18. I was like, well, what's the most interesting, industry I can think of? And I ended up in production and ended up in TV production here and in London. And I was fortunate enough to just work with such amazing production teams. And I think that's when I really fell in love with like, okay, we're just not like number crunchers, and like we actually have such an important role in what that financial journey at a commercial point of view is for a business as a whole, and like the impact that we can have. And I've just been so fortunate that wherever I've gone, I've been able to have such great people around me that have been super collaborative, super like, let's put everything on the table, like, let's get into it. How can we all like do what we need to do and like just produce something beautiful? So I got very swept away by production and being part of the creative process and not being the creative in the room, because I think that's such a superpower to have in any industry as an accountant. And then I came back, I was in kids TV, I did High Five and Bananas in Pajamas for a beat.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I loved High Five.
Kids TV is so great. It's
fun.
so much fun.
I loved High Five.
Yeah, it's so good. And then ended up in a fast growth business in advertising, and really kind of like just like got involved in like, well, what does a business look like when it starts at this level, and then like really pushes it across different service lines and industries and also territories. And I just got, I just had such a great experience in the advertising space. And then I thought, why am I just not doing this myself? My dad owned his own business, so I always knew at some point I probably wanted to start my own business. And that's how Hot Toast was born. So Hot Toast, there's nothing behind it. I feel like I should have a far better story for it, but it came about with a bunch of creative mates in a pub and too much red wine, and we just thought, look, if you don't get it, we probably don't want to work with you. So it was always just meant to feel like an extension of the advertising and TV business and whatnot, and make people feel like, okay, well, we get you, we see you, come on board with us. So, yeah, that's how it started.
Well, no one can say no to a nice bit of hot toast. a bit of sourdough with a bit of butter, say less. So I'll absolutely be at your door.
I love that.
But for myself, I've only been a journalist in this space for just over a year now, and it has absolutely blown me away, all the changes that you guys have seen. So obviously now we're talking about AI and we're talking about sustainability, but there have been so many other changes, and I'm really interested to know what change for you within this industry has been the most monumental or the most shifting.
Oh, okay. So I think I would agree with you. In the last year, it feels like as practitioners, and this is why I always want to talk about like the compliance burden that sits at the sole practitioner level. Like it is a lot. It is really tough out there to start a business, sustain a business, grow a business, and succeed in business, especially if you're a woman. And then you add that additional complexity of all of the code of conduct stuff and the TPB stuff and the ATO stuff that's coming down. And I think what's happened as a byproduct of all of that pressure in that compliance space is that it's built this beautiful community off the back of it, because I think when you're in that sole practitioner space, you realise I need help here, and I may not be getting it through the traditional avenues, but I know that I can reach out to other practitioners that are in a similar situation. So I just wanted to flag that, because I think people, especially if you've only come into this industry, you're always like, oh, wow, you guys have such a great community.
I always think that. Oh, how can I be in this club too?
And I think it's because we want to help each other, because we understand how hard it is sometimes to run a business. So for me, I don't think it's been one particular thing. I think it's been a continuous thing over the last 10 years. I think the compliance thing is obviously a factor. I think COVID was really hard on us. I think the amount of change and support that was coming down the pipe, that combined with the fact that we had clients calling us up and we really are their first port of call, put a huge amount of stress on the industry, just around like, okay, well, I need to worry about my business, but now I need to take on the mental load of the conversations that my clients are having with me and how can I help them. I think that was a really big moment that we've all kind of forgotten about, but I still feel like has taken years for us to kind of recalibrate. I think we're going to see with AI in the next 5 years the biggest shift to professional services, not just accounting, but across professional services. It's the first time we're going to see technology that's going to have a huge impact at the white collar level. And so trying to navigate that and how do we prepare for that, I think is going to be something we should be talking about a lot at the moment. But yeah, so I don't think it has been one thing. I think it's just been like a continuous like, okay, well now what are we dealing with? Now what do we have to look at? And do I think it's a lot? Yes. You know, I do. I think we've got the AML stuff that's now coming down within the next 12 months. You know, we talk about sustainability. It hasn't hit us at the SME space now, but like that's coming down the pipeline. It's always continuous, you know, there's always something coming down, which is what makes this industry great and special. And it's why as practitioners, we're awesome at what we do, because like we navigate that all the time for ourselves and for our clients, but it is still a lot. And I think, yeah, with AI, I think we're going to probably see a lot of M&A activity in the next couple of years as well around that. And I think that's a byproduct of the pressure that we're seeing on solo practitioners and smaller practitioners.
Do you know what? It is one of those things too. You know, you say there are so many things. It's just one thing after another. And this great industry just seems like it can't catch a break. And, you know, and then on the other hand, they're like saying that we can't get, you know, talent into this industry. But it's such a fantastic industry, so it just blows my mind. But if we're talking about, you know, technology and sustainability, which you have said it is so important and something we should be talking about more, are they coming hand in hand, or is that more of two completely different things that need to be balanced and juggled at the same time?
I think it's all together.
Yep.
I think the problem is when you kind of silo it and say it's this other thing to do, it becomes a thing on your to-do list. The way that we need to think about it as an industry is like, okay, we're already in the data, we're already having those conversations. How do we just upskill or leverage that capability that we already have in our business so that it makes us more efficient, so it builds our capacity, so we can then offer those additional services to our clients. So, and like, I love our industry. I am so in awe of some of the people that are in this industry and how we run our businesses. And from a technical perspective, like if there is an opportunity there that we can upskill or lift into, we should be doing that. We should be doing that so that we own that whole part of the client relationship and distribution chain, as opposed to having to look outside of the industry. And, I just think it's an opportunity, and I want our industry to take that opportunity up and be at the forefront of it.
Sustainability for someone who isn't an accountant and maybe, people who have been in the profession for so long and haven't really thought about sustainability as a factor. From your perspective or, your understanding and all the work that you're doing, what does sustainability actually mean or do for the accounting space?
Yeah. So I think there's two things. So firstly, we're a very, very proud B Corp. So for those of you that are listening that don't know what B Corp is, it's a certification that we went through a couple of years ago that basically draws a line in the sand across our business that says that our focus is not just on the bottom line from a financial perspective, but we're also taking into consideration environmental and social factors as well. And we have passed a criteria that says, as a stamp of approval, we aim every day to work towards that so that we have an impact out there in society, and we're a business that works for purpose, that we focus on. So there's that. So that's what I have. So full disclaimer, I have a bias towards this because I just see the benefit that it has out there in society. From a financial perspective, I think the opportunity for sustainability, ultimately, we are the financial, basically we're already in the data. We're already got to focus on that at the moment. The opportunity for accountants is really because we, that is our technical ability. That is how we work with our clients from a tax or a bookkeeping perspective. It's such an easy lift then into sustainability. At the most basic level, as accountants, we can look at carbon accounting. So what is your emissions factor as a business, and what does that look like, and how can we potentially move the needle for that? So when we start to look at scope 1, scope 2 and scope 3, everything's in the data. It's in the financial data that we're in all day, every day. So, and there's some great technology platforms out there at the moment that are pushing into that space to make that even easier for us. But if we're talking about advisory for accountants and how we actually give value to clients and what that relationship is, sustainability just forms part of that, right? So sustainability broadly is social responsibility, environment, and governance. Governance, we're all over that anyway, right? Okay, we live in that world. Risk mitigation strategies, we are so across that. We live and breathe that at the moment. So we're already really strong in that area. The environmental piece, that is something that we can definitely focus on, but we can use the data from a ledger to kind of uplift into that space as well. And social responsibility, I don't know any accountant that I don't know that I talk to that doesn't do something at a community level, at a social level, hasn't got a focus on DAI. So I feel all the ingredients are there in what we already do. It's just about bringing it together and going, okay, we live in the data. What does that mean from a reporting perspective? And how can we then leverage that to make you a better business or to have a greater impact? And how can I be the person that starts that conversation? Anyway, and I just think we're the best people to do that. So, yeah, I've ranted a little bit.
No, it's great. I feel like it's one of those things too that everyone should be across and everyone should be doing it. And, you are obviously so well versed in what's going on and what we need to do. Are you finding that with other people as well? Are other people as passionate about it as you, or are you trying to drive that conversation?
I think we've definitely got some passionate people globally. There are some amazing practitioners out there that are just leading the way in that. I hope we are too, to a certain extent. Look, I think at a really basic level, people work on incentives, right? And we talked at the start of this conversation about the downward pressure of regulation and compliance and everything on practitioners. There's only so many hours in a day. So in the top end of town, the big four and the mid-tiers, they have sustainability departments. They're rolling this out. They've got audit departments for their sustainability. They've, So it is a very different world. In my area, in the SME space, like there's no incentive at the moment. Like we're not seeing like you need to disclose this in your financial statements or this is the value add that you can have. So it doesn't mean that it's not coming. It's definitely coming down the pipe for us. But at the moment, there's not really a push because people go, well, hang on a second. How am I going to find time to do that? Or what does that look like? So I guess I just want to start that conversation and others as well around like, okay, well, you're already in the data. It's not much more of an uplift to basically have a focus on this as well.
Definitely. And Sarah and I were talking before this podcast as well on, you know, across here at Accountants Daily, we're also writing on Accounting Times. So we get to have, you know, the double-edged sword of we get to see, you know, Big Four news and everything that's happening within these bigger corporations. But then we also get the SME side. And I was saying to Sarah before, we hear a lot of chatter and we talk a little bit about it on Accounting Times with sustainability reporting frameworks, which is kind of what you were saying with they've got whole departments on this now. But this obviously doesn't impact the SME community, does it?
At the moment, it doesn't. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't be prepared, and it doesn't mean that it's not coming down the line for us. If you've got clients at the moment, so in terms of reporting, just in what happens with Hot Toast at the moment, we're lucky enough that we've got other B Corp clients, so we're always doing their carbon accounting. But in terms of formal disclosures and whatnot in the financial statements, that's not required at our end of town at the moment. However, if you are dealing with bigger suppliers or bigger clients, they might have that burden on them in terms of disclosure. And when they're looking at scope 3, which is looking at their entire value chain and going, well, what's the emissions across our entire value chain? You might be a business that has got a questionnaire or has been asked about that information and whatnot. So you might have seen it on the fringes, but in terms of your business in this space, not at the moment. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be prepared for it. It will come. It's just a matter of when that hits.
If I was also a sole practitioner or I had my own little accounting business and I, you know, listened to this and heard you talking about this, but I understand that I'm living in the data, but I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing, what advice would you give them or what strategies would you say are crucial in understanding and getting ahead?
So I'm going to have a shameless plug.
Go for
because
it.
you're giving me a platform.
Here it is.
So about 12 months ago, so a couple of years ago, IFAC, the International Federation of Accountants, did this brilliant checklist, this brilliant sustainability checklist. It was super detailed across environment, social responsibility and governance. Fantastic. They distributed globally. It was great. I was talking to them off the back of that last year around like, I love this content. Wouldn't it be really cool if we could make it into a practical, interactive tool that we could then like have other practitioners use to move the needle and start that conversation? So I've been working with them on, God, it took like nearly over a year. I think I spent a lot of late nights up and whatnot, contacting other practitioners, but they basically went for it and we basically brought it to life. And it's a free tool that you can find on the IFAC website. IFAC have also been generous enough to say it's not just a starting point for you, but if you want to go and use that same framework for your clients, you can also do that, which is amazing. But it's all about like that first step. So when you say, where do I start? This is where you should start. You know, carbon accounting is a part of that. That's an easy lift for accountants. It's something that you can you can focus on a little bit further down the track. But this just really takes you through that framework. It gives you practical resources, and we've been able to wrangle the most amazing accountants around the world that are living this, already doing this in their practices. So there's a whole like content part at the back end of it that they basically share their experience and like what works for them and what doesn't work for them. And it's all free. It's all free. So
It's free, guys.
It's free. It's free. I know accountants love something that's free. So it is free. And you'll probably see a lot of your friends up there as well. There's a lot of Aussies that feature in that as well, as well from people around, you know, Europe and the UK and whatnot. So I would say start there because it really kind of takes you through those baby steps. And then you can kind of start drilling down into each part of ESG and go, well, what works for me? And, you know, do I want to look at getting an environmental policy in place? Is that something that I have an alignment with? Or do I want to look at my greenhouse gas emissions and how am I going to start recording that? I would say start with yourself first and then look at like the alignment there and then look at how you can potentially roll that out to your client base as well.
I think it's also one of those things where you see something and you start looking at it and then you dive deeper into it and then suddenly this whole other world opens up and you go, oh my gosh, there's so much conversation around this. There are so many other people. And for some reason I was just blind to it before. I mean, I guess that happens with lots of other things, but then you just, you know, then you find Sarah on LinkedIn going, guys, sustainability is really cool. It's free.
But I think it's also a really good point because we're all so busy and then you go, oh my God, that feels like such a big thing for me. And it's like, it just doesn't have to be. Like you can just like baby steps, put the framework in place, what feels right for you. I'm not telling everyone to go be a B Corp or go fully execute sustainability services in your business. Just like start, like this is a really good planning time for a lot of practitioners at the moment as we start to look at our new financial year. Like, the checklist takes 20 minutes. Just go on it and have a look at it. Imogen's going, it's free.
It's free. And so obviously, you know, like I said, you're so ahead with this and you're speaking about it, which is so important. But from your experience with it and when you were first, you know, diving into it, did you have any or face any major challenges that you thought, oh, that's really difficult to understand, or I don't really understand how to implement that? Or was there anything that kind of stumped you?
I think our biggest challenge was honestly the B Corp certification because I think people think that certification really is, it looks like a marketing play and it's no joke. Like we have to integrate those policies. Like we have targets and KPIs. Like I need to make sure that I do have an impact at a social level. I do have the right policies in place. I am paying people what they should be paid and above that. Like we need to make sure that we are sharing profit at the back end of our business. Like it's not just a nice to have and a marketing play. So I think for me, that was probably like, okay, like we need to actually like reorient the business a little bit because I believe in this so much and I want to make sure that we do fit into this criteria. So yeah, that took a little bit. And I think, and then it's just the change management piece around that off the back of that because I can want that all I want, but you know, Hot Toast is not just me, it's this amazing team of other women. And then it's like, how do we make sure that we get buy-in and implement that across the business as well? And they see the value in this as well and why are we doing this? So that was probably been the most challenging part of the whole process.
I think it's really nice that you have a team behind you that also see the value in it and, you know, work towards it and everyone's got it on their mind and this is why we're doing these sorts of things. So that's really nice. If we're talking about AI, our favourite little topic that everyone's talking about, I can't escape it. Everyone's saying, you know, you need to start using it and I'm still thinking, what? What do you mean? What are your thoughts on AI? Give us a little spiel. Thoughts, feelings, queries. What's going on?
I think we're about to see the biggest level of disruption in professional service in the next 5 to 7 years that we've seen in its entirety. I think that it is going to be super disruptive, and I don't say that to scaremonger, and I don't say that as clickbait. I say that as like...
That's going to be the title of the episode, everyone,
yeah.
by the way.
But I say that as like we're in the perfect position to leverage this technology. We need to start, if we know there's going to be a level of disruption, how as an industry can we leverage that now? What do we need to be doing now? What are the conversations that need to be happening at an association level around training and education to look towards the future so that we don't get left behind? So it is going to be the biggest opportunity of our lifetime. It's also potentially one of the biggest threats, dependent on how quickly we can move as an industry. We at times are slow to move on certain things. At times we move super quickly, which is so impressive for us. And we're all, you know, a lot of us live in this space. We're very tech focused and forward. But how do we as an industry, my biggest problem is I don't want anyone to get left behind. I don't want to see practitioners that may not have a focus on this or whatever to go, hey, I've just built this amazing business and that's been eroded. The value of my business or my assets been eroded because I couldn't keep up and I didn't feel like I had the support in place to help me on that journey, which I think is the association's job. And the job.
If you're listening, guys.
Oh, don't worry, I'm telling them. Sorry, CPA. They're like, oh, God, here she goes again. We heard this last week in our meeting, guys. But yeah, I think it's an opportunity. I think we just need to talk about it. And I think we need to put something in place that goes, okay, well, this is what the pathway looks like for everybody so no one gets left behind.
If we're breaking down what you said about, opportunities and threats, and obviously people being left behind is a major threat, is there any other threats or any other, major opportunities that this is bringing to the industry?
I mean, the threat is that, you want people to move fast, but we are built on ethics and security. There is a huge security risk around this, like any new technology. It's like, how can we incorporate... even in the SME space, it's a lot easier for us to spin up stuff and to incorporate it in our business. It moves a lot slower when you get bigger because you get used to things. So the change management piece is really hard. The security piece is an issue that needs to be focused on. But yeah, I think for me, I just don't want anyone to get left behind, honestly.
I'm really interested to know, and I'll be interested to hear your thoughts as well. For, like I said before, covering AccountantsDaily and Accounting Times, we hear about this talent shortage and, people, having to train in AI now to kind of come into this space so they can come equipped. But then we've got these, veterans in the space who have seen so much within the accounting world and are still probably not at the end of their career. But because this whole technology is changing so quickly and they just can't really grasp it or don't really want to, then it will be pushing out more people on the other side. So then where does that leave us, or what can we do to support them?
Yeah, so I don't think that's – I think there's an opportunity there. You've just articulated, there's a talent shortage. I think Steve and Drinkwater put up, 60% of tax agents in Australia are over 50 or something like that.
Yeah, something crazy.
It is crazy. So you've got people at this stage of their career, and fair enough. You've worked a couple of decades. I get it. I don't want to have to immerse myself into this new technology and rewire my entire strategy and all of that. So what you've articulated is there's a clear through line of opportunity there of how do we firstly, I don't think we're selling the idea to the next generation, which I think is a problem.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if we want people to come into this industry and be excited and have a thriving career and be entrepreneurs, because one of the best parts of being in the public practice space is you get to my day is awesome. I love my day. I get to tinker with agents. I get to have conversations with clients around their business. I get to look at sustainability, and I get to do it with an amazing team and others in my community. That's not articulated enough, and the pathway for the next generation is not shown enough either. So it's how can you incorporate a tech-ready business and how can we make sure that you're talking to those people? The biggest opportunities, we're going to have all these people retiring. Where are their businesses going to? What's that infrastructure going to look like? How can we then connect those two dots so that we're bringing people on the journey and then having people buy into firms and become equity partners or show them the pathway to equity a lot earlier and the opportunities. So I just think it's an opportunity. I just honestly think it's an opportunity.
Yeah, well, it is. And do you know what? It's so interesting to hear, someone like yourself who is so passionate and obviously really enjoys their job. I listen to you and go, why would I not want to be an accountant? Why would I not want to enter this space? But what are we doing as a whole that isn't selling the idea? What do we need to do better? Because people are trying, but it's obviously just falling a bit short.
Yeah, I think we need to stop siloing us as an industry and going, this is just about accountancy. It's not just about accountancy. That's not how it's like when people go, I'm a CPA or I'm a CA. It's we talk about it we don't all hang out. It's just
it's a club, guys.
Everybody likes to put things in boxes.
Yeah.
And I think we need to flip that narrative and go, okay, well, if we want a thriving industry, how do we look at the data scientists, the people that are data analysts, the people that are in different industries, in law and technology, and how can we basically make this industry like not just about accounting, but how can you have a thriving career where accounting is a component of it and technology and purpose and impact, and like how can I bring that all together in one way? So I want to see in the next couple of years, and I know that there's pathways that are currently happening with CPA and CA around like how can we bring those people into, but I think we need to really start supercharging that and that conversation, because we traverse so many different industries now, and I think that's where the opportunity and the excitement lies for the next generation. I don't know. I just think we need to do a better job of selling it. I know we talk about talent and pipeline, but like, you know, you see on the 1st of July, you go onto forums and people are exhausted. People are burnt out. There's so much regulation, and it's like you look at those conversations and like, why would you want to become a part of that industry when like you're seeing that kind of narrative online? So I just think, I think there's a few different components of it.
There is. And like I said, you know, I listen to you and I think, wow, why would you not want to become an accountant? It sounds awesome. And I think also the biggest thing that you said, you know, purpose and impact. And it seems to be something that you're all doing and that you all have a part in, which I think is amazing. And then I go onto the AccountantsDaily website and I read a lovely comment somebody has left me, and it says, why the hell would you want to become a tax agent? I think, you know, I'm so burnt out. You know, somebody commented the other week and said, I was supposed to be in Rome enjoying an affogato and I'm doing tax returns.
Yeah. And that's like actually heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But like that is part of the broader model of public practice and why it doesn't work. Like that's why I've been banging on for so long. It's like, this title model does not work. It does not work. But you know what works? Like a far more collaborative approach and like, you know, potentially like, you know, alignment with other businesses. And like there's just so, I just feel like we're still playing to this same old, like, this is what public practice used to look like. This is what it should feel like. And that's why we're seeing the same results over and over again, because that is heartbreaking. Like, you know, I want you to go on holidays. Enjoy your holidays. Don't be sitting there on the AccountantsDaily website writing Imogen messages.
Well, you can if you want.
No, but it's like the fact that just speaks to somebody that's super burnt out.
Yeah,
They've
tune
had
out.
Enough.
Let go.
Yeah.
I'll be here when you get back. I'll be in your inbox every day. Don't you worry.
Love that.
Oh, too funny.
Come chill out with Imogen, honestly. That'll de-stress you.
Sarah, before we wrap up today, is there any overarching message you would want to put out to the audience or anyone listening in today?
Oh, God, overarching message. Okay, so I'm going to just reinforce what I said when I won my Thought Leader Award. So I'm really involved with CPA Australia, and I would just say, and with Xero and with Ignition and a few other committees in this industry, and I would just say that there is going to be so much change happening in the next 5 to 7 years, and we do not have enough diversity sitting in those rooms when we're having those conversations. So if you have the time and you have the capacity, please reach out to other people that are involved in the associations, and please get involved, because, like, you know, we need you. You know, like, it's all well and good to whinge and drop comments and do all the things, but you know what's way more powerful is to just get involved and change it. So I would just say that, like, please get involved. You know, your industry needs you.
Well, Sarah, thank you so much for coming in today and jumping on Under the Hood. It has been so much fun and such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me, Imogen.
If you would like to contact me, you can reach me at imogen.wilson@momentummedia.com.au. To all of our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode with founder and CEO of Hot Toast, Sarah Lawrance. Until next time, bye for now.
The information featured in this podcast is general in nature and does not take into consideration your financial situation or individual needs and should not be relied upon. Before making any investment, insurance, tax, property or financial planning decision, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you. Guests appearing on this podcast may have a commercial relationship with the companies mentioned.